Welcome everybody. Make sure everything's working right. Kind of popped on tonight unexpectedly. I didn't expect myself to be on tonight either. So let's see, what do I got here? I got to do one last thing. Make sure my audio is right. Nope. All right, that should sound better. Get that tinny sound out. I had the wrong setting set for the. Yeah, lately every time I come on, it resets my speaker to go through my camera mic, which is not the best microphone. Anyway, welcome everybody for this, I guess you call it a special. And I got a few haircuts today. They really cut it short, but oh well, I should have combed it a little bit better. But whatever. Anyway, glad you all are here. This tonight's going to be, this is Good Friday. I'm just going to make a couple announcements. And I just got back from the church's Good Friday service. It was a Good Friday because we did the altar call tonight. And I think at least 6 people came up to get born again. And they had 2 services. I missed the first one. I was assigned to go to the second one on the prayer team, and then the earlier service at 4:30 came. And I don't know how many people got saved there. I mean, this church is growing. People are getting saved. It is a word church, and so I'm glad to be there. A good place to go. And with that, we're going to talk about tonight. I was driving home thinking of some things. I'm thinking, what I'm going to do? I'm going to just do some musings and talking about stuff, about my books. I want to read something from them, and we're going to try to blend it into an Easter message, not an Easter message, a Resurrection Day message somehow. We'll see. I'm just winging it right now. In the meantime, stay tuned for tomorrow, and I think we're going to be starting around 4 o'clock Eastern. So I want to be going live 4 o'clock Eastern with Jason Mathis. And we spoke not too long ago. This is about aliens and all that. People got good reviews and good hits on that one. And so if you want, this will be part 2. We're going to be discussing some of the new findings. When we did that video, I didn't know Matt Gantz would come out shortly and start talking about alien disclosure. Then Newsmax began talking about it, and it's all over the news. So I want to talk to Chris about that. We'll talk, and not Chris, but Jason about that, and see what his emails and his correspondent with Jason had with Chris. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, because some of the things that's revealed to me, that when I read what he sent me about what Chris said, fits what was just disclosed. And so, it brings more credibility to the story that he researched. And so I'm going to bring him back on tomorrow at 4 o'clock. It'll be 4 o'clock Eastern. That is tomorrow, Saturday. And then I don't know if I'm coming on Sunday. I'm preparing something for you guys. And that is, I'm going to be I'm going to try to explain something to you. It's how just say that it'll involve the Cabala and how it came about. And how come people say that it's based solely on Jewish mysticism, yet all kinds of goyim or Gentiles in the music industry and all the halls of, these people are not Hebrew people. These people are Gentiles. And they practice this stuff, Beyonce and all these people, and Madonna and a host of other people, music professionals, singers, people in government. And yet they support anti-Semitism. Isn't that interesting? There's something a little more going on. That's what we're going to kind of look at. I'm working on. And so doing some research, and I'll give you a tidbit of information. It's based on the Zohar, which comes from the Merkava, Merkah or Merkava. I think it's Merkah, meaning he who rides in a chariot. It's old writings there that came from around 1000 to 100 BC, okay, or before Common Era, BCE, if you want to do it that way. And so it's a conglomeration of prophetic books and what people wrote and stuff. Some of it is legitimate because some of the in the Zohar and in the I think it's the Talmud, there's actually chapters they don't talk about anywhere else that specifically in the Zohar that announces and talks about Jesus being the suffering servant of Isaiah 53 and who the Messiah was and how to identify him. And this stuff is really old. And then they've discovered Isaiah scroll in Qumran in 1948. And so there's no way that anyone can ever say that Isaiah 53 was manipulated by Christians. This was, and I'm just Dead Sea Scroll of Isaiah 58 predates that. It's in the BC era. No, there's no way. So, and what they actually thought and why they were looking for it. And it's a mishmash of other occultic work brought in there. And it basically, the devil likes to infiltrate religions, especially Judaism and Christianity, and infiltrate it with their ideas. And they have some truth and not some truth in it. So we're going to explore something like that. And you're going to see what this is, and your eyes are going to be open, and you're going to see something. And once you see it, you'll understand why everything's going on the way it is. And hopefully, it'll get you doing your spiritual warfare, because it is. This is about spiritual warfare. I'm talking about. It's a different teaching on spiritual warfare you never heard before, probably never heard before, and once you understand what's going on and why the armor of God is important, you'll see it in a whole different way, and how to combat this stuff, the infiltration going on in Christian churches with this stuff, and what the Cabala is really about in the deeper, after the honeymoon phase is off of and the headiness and euphoria wears off, you reach what would be called the heart sharka area of the tree of life, and it's also death. And so it involves some ceremonial rituals. And then you go into full black, dark stuff, very dark stuff. And you manipulate spirits. It's about conjuring and divination. That's where it leads. Starts out all nice about religion and getting in touch with the Lord or whatever you're thinking about. It's really not. And they blend some legitimate stuff in with it. Alice Bailey did the same thing. She quoted the scripture constantly. She always brought the Bible to back up her occult works. And this is basically what this stuff, what they did back in the day of Jesus's time, as well as in when the Cabala was written. It was like 1200 AD, and it's just a conglomeration of certain writings, mystical writings, and all brought in together. And it actually goes farther back into before Jesus' day. They did this, and then you understand what they were doing, and why Ezekiel would look through a hole in the wall and see him worshiping Tammuz and weeping for Tammuz and doing all kinds of occult rituals in there, and then going out and doing the sacrifices for sin. And it explains a lot, but I don't want to bore you with that. I don't know if anybody will watch it, but we'll see. Not too many people. I think some people watched the first one. But with that, I'm just going to stop talking about that. We're going to go into it. I didn't play the countdown because I just didn't put it on there. So I'm going to start reading from my book, A Land Unknown, because that's what this is. I'm going to be talking about. It's about the resurrection, a land unknown, yet heaven beckons. And so I'm going to be talking about this, and from a different perspective from somebody who came back. You don't have to believe a thing I say. I'm not worried about it. You have your rights to believe what you want, say what you want about me. It just doesn't bother me. So on page 138 and 39, and 140, 138 to 141, I described something that happened in my experience when I saw the abyss. And I tried to explain in the book the best way I could what I saw and what I felt. And I felt something speaking to me in the best way I put it in the book in a more dramatic fashion, but it was a very quiet, whispering connection with somebody that was I left. It was from I know it was from Jesus. I didn't illustrate that in the book, but it was from Jesus speaking to me when I was in the abyss. Just few words, and they exploded in knowledge. And I always had trouble. And what I remember, on top of that, walking in this place in hell, you don't have to believe me, was how much information you can get and how scared and terrified, petrified, mortally terrified of what you're seeing, and yet having this voice of comfort hit you, and all you could say is Jesus, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, like he told me to say. He gave me permission to say his name. And an option for my return was yet to be decided. I remember him saying that. And then I was in this place. So I'm walking around, and things would come to me. And so when I came back, got into church, and started the process of sanctification in my life and all that, reading the scriptures and stuff, things that were spoken to me came alive, and I put them in the book because this is the type of things that was mentioned to me, and it was a split second. And yeah, it's going to take me longer than that to read it, and I've been sharing this ever since. Okay, just listen. So here we go. – 138. As we walked along this road, the fiendish guide began to blame God for corrupting life and allowing people to inflict pain and woe upon each other. I began to recall how I did the same. One little paragraph probably doesn't mean too much to too many people, but to me, there's a lot of meaning there. This is why I say what really made me, I guess the root of the post-traumatic stress that I went through is to see evil in a way, in a degree that I don't wish on anybody to see. If you're a combat veteran or you go through a trauma, something, yeah, you've seen it. You've seen what evil is. So you can relate. But this type of evil is more insidious, and it's deceptive, and it mocks God, and it mocks you as a person, and it tempts and tests you and pushes your button, and then it entraps you and it enslaves you, and all this stuff happens. And I saw this, and when I was watching the cubes, and then that's what I mean. Walked along the road, the fiendish guide began to blame God for corrupting life and allowing people to inflict pain and woe upon each other. I began to recall how I did the same. Lived in the world, part of the world, and I sure blame God for all that too. I remember going to Sunday school as a kid and hearing a story about Adam and Eve and the tree of the knowledge. And I argued with the Sunday school teacher that because God left the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden, he therefore created all of life's calamities. The look on the poor teacher's face was hard to forget when his entire class broke into irreverent laughter, or more or less a chuckle, actually, how kids do. I was so proud of this accomplishment. You got to understand, as a little kid, not a little kid, but when I got old enough and all that stuff, I'm still going to church with my parents. I couldn't stay home. I wasn't old enough yet. I wrote a kids' liberation paper. I told you about this before. How kids need to be free from the tyranny of their parents. They're being oppressed by their parents. That's from reading philosophy books, okay? Plato's Republic was one of my favorite things. So I blended Plato's Republics into kids' freedom. We'll have this perfect place for kids. A lollipop on every corner and candy, all you can eat, and you can do whatever. You don't have to take a bath. I had all this stuff written out. My mom found it, and she started crying a little bit. How could you, Brian? Are we that bad towards you? And I go, oh my God. I had to tear up the paper, ripped it up, threw it away. And I had to write another paper for school. So, so that's what I say. So that's kind of give you an idea of my mentality when I was a kid. Okay. I always fooled people because I lived 2 lives when I was a kid. I was always quiet around parents and relatives and stuff. But people got to know me. They knew that's not the real me that they knew. Um, oh, a little thrill seeker, that's for sure. I'm going to go here to this paragraph. Looking back at the man in this one-room schoolhouse, I could not help think that he had succumbed to the same grand knowledge teaching what makes life good and bad as I had. He was one of those in the know, blind to reject God in a reasonable way. He taught others to do the same. I did the equivalent, but in a different manner. It's one of those things that the Lord saved you from. I call it shame. He releases you from that shame. While pondering this, I felt powerful thoughts arriving to respond to the question I was mulling over concerning who had really corrupted life. Because this is what this thing was constantly saying to me. God corrupted life. It's his fault. All the bad stuff happened to you. It was a regurgitation. It was throwing it back in your face. And you got to understand, it's very convincing, but it's so to see the facial expressions of this creature of old lizard breath, seeing what and how it looked when it was speaking in this guttural language, and that's the interpretation, and it was disgusting. And so that's what they do. They mock God. They get people to mock it. This guy in the schoolroom was a teacher, and he kept writing on the board all this stuff, and that's what I saw. And he was writing on a chalkboard endlessly, I know it all, I know it all. He had once been a scholar teaching wise things. Through his lessons, he led many astray to walk away from God. Now he received his due, a place without God, all alone. So that's who I just looked at this schoolhouse scene, and he's writing on the wall, and he's like foaming at the mouth, kind of, and just frenzy. He was driven, and he was it's like, I try to tell people, people get upset because they everybody's capable. Humanity is capable of producing some good. You can't maintain it, and what you can maintain is not going to get you to heaven, because the ultimate is the rejection of the one who's sent to rescue you, and that's Jesus. What are you going to do about Jesus? It's just a question. What are you going to do about Jesus? Oh, I don't want that Jesus stuff. I don't want that religious stuff. It's not about religion. It's about Jesus who came, and you'll find out what I'm talking about sooner or later. He offered you a choice when before you had none. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this section here of these powerful thoughts that came to me, like I started out with, and remembering about the Garden of Eden. All this stuff happened so fast, it takes longer to write it than how it actually happened. I'm walking and going past another cube, and shortly thereafter, I can't explain any of this. It's really hard to be that terrified and remember everything. remember things. And it's very, very difficult for me to write the book because it was, how do I do this? So I did it this way in the book, the best I could, in a long, drawn out way, so you can understand. And it was like, as you walk by, and when you felt the voice, it would be Jesus speaking to me. I call it the voice. It was like, it would like jar you, and it was so fast. And then it was, I always say, it was like Jesus having it out with me. Okay? That's the only way I can describe it. In other words, revealing my own self to my, because what happens in the abyss is your true sin nature is coming to the surface. What's latent inside of you that you don't even know about. You do know about it. You know how under the right circumstances, you can turn into something you don't even recognize given the right circumstances. And it's shocking. And given enough time, turning up the heat, so to speak, you become that. That's what's happening there. And I always say it's like the devil's turning up the heat on these people. They're becoming worse. And they say, we're basically, it's like, it's just given. Just, we'll give you a break if you become like us. That's the kind of the theme. You become as depraved as they are. And this is being brought out in those people. They're not innocent victims. That was the shocking thing. My argument that I had when I was running around in the world when I was older and became that atheist after being agnostic, atheist, so forth. I finally atheist is that, just outright rejection, and I blame God for everything. And I was thoroughly justified, like this teacher was. That's what struck me. I was mulling over concerning who really corrupted life and how all this came to pass in the Garden of Eden. The Saurian host also heard the words of mystery. I call it the words of mystery. Don't get freaked out because I tried to call it what I could, the best way I could. If I would have wrote down, I heard Jesus speaking to me and blah, blah, that would make me look like a know-it-all, somebody filled with pride. Jesus spoke to me this way. So I called it the voice of mystery, or the mysterious voice, which is pretty much uncovering what the Bible calls about mysteries. Okay, so let's listen. Judge for yourself. The Saurian host heard the words of mystery and scurried ahead, holding its gnarly fingers in its ears. Well, his gnarly finger in its ear says, "Oh, there's a typo there. The editor's left. I'm going to circle that. Finger in. I'm going to mark that. I didn't see that. Ooh, so editors didn't do a very good job in the book. But anyway, and I walked peering into the cubes as the words of thought rained down upon me." Best way to describe it. And this is what he said. And I italicized words here to try to give you in the book. Most High foreknew a tree of life, a tree of knowledge. That'd be like what was actually similar to what was said, but unpacked in your mind is a tremendous amount of information you first didn't really discern. You just accepted what it was saying, and the voice was saying to you when Jesus was speaking to me, not it. Sorry about that. So it so goes like this. Left corrupting life, how can the Most High let this be? Why leave creatures to ensnare the unwise, as you have just seen, and caretakers left causing pain and woe above the mortal lands, or in the mortal lands? People get mad. Why do you use the word caretaker? Well, that's what I came back with. We were designed and created to be the caretakers of the precious things of God. I said it thousands of times since this, hundreds of times. I mean, most of my testimonies were caretaking the gift of life with the Lord. And we are and you're married, your wife becomes partakers of the gift of life in a different way, okay? But I won't get into that. You have kids, and then you learn a lot of lessons. Okay. How can the Most High let this be and leave creatures to ensnare the unwise? As you have just seen, and caretakers left causing pain and woe in mortal lands, you mused how the Most High can let this all be. If he foreknew the first result would create, you muse, how could the Most High let this be if he foreknew the first result would create calamity? What would make this clear for you? I'll tell you how, layer upon layer, one piece at a time, a clue here and there, so you'll seek answers never to be forgotten from the riddle of the wise. So years later, I'm reading Isaiah, talking about a little here, a little there, and that they may be snared and fall backwards, okay? And Jesus quotes that in Parable of the Sower chapter in Matthew. And the riddles of the wise are mentioned in the book of Ecclesiastes. Just to let you know how this was. I can't explain it, but I did the best I could to try to illustrate it. Listen, you heard this once before in Sunday school, but failed to see the possibilities because you blame God without understanding. Here then, in the garden long ago, there was two special trees, a tree of life and the other a tree of knowledge. The tree of knowledge had branches reaching in every direction, exhibiting the nature of knowledge, reaching for the stars in the sky. Your first hint. So it says it in the Bible they want to be like God, but you'll just keep listening. It produced fruit that nurtured knowledge that, if partaken, would steer one away from God. By it, one could make life bad or good according to desires. You decide. Likewise, the tree of life had branches reaching for the sun, the light from God, that without which none could exist for long. Its fruit was meant for food, to be freely partaken of, which steers one pure in heart to walk in unison with God forever as an extension of the Master's hand. Years later, I found out this is basic theology. A lot of scholars and a lot of Hebrew and biblical scholars say that before Adam and Eve fell, they could eat of the tree of life. After they fell, they could not. They were forbidden to. Two different things. Most scholars agree with what I just said. Okay? You don't have to believe me, but do your own research. Two courses, double choices laying bare. Live with God or without. One produces life, another produces death. Sorting and ordering decree. Who will follow God? Who will follow cravings? One would choose knowledge of how to live as they deem fit, or choose a free gift from another tree they did not grow to keep life justly live. These caretakers chose the tree of knowledge for knowledge. After all, it seemed desirable to make one wise in governing their own life reasonably well. The shots they could now call to make life good according to their own understanding. Like God they could be, walking as they saw best. By this, the grace of reason became corrupt as foreseen. God gave us ability to reason as moral creatures. The ability to reason is a gift. Okay? But the grace of reason became corrupt. Why would God do this? Why would he allow the tree and the knowledge of good and evil? Why did he allow the fall? Why did he allow the devil? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I'll go in the next few verses. How come a tree of knowledge was left in the land if foreseeing everything foresaw a calamity? Is not God perfect in all his ways? The tree of knowledge was to be tended to, but not partaken of. It was placed so as to find what was already known to be in both the caretaker's mind where they were assigned. So they were assigned in the Garden of Eden. Michael Heiser, before he passed away, lectured and talked about it. The Garden of Eden was actually a council area where God met the angels and man. and man was in charge of the garden area and the areas around it to tend and to keep it, and outside of it, live in the periphery of it, be fruitful and multiply. Everything he said in Genesis chapter 1. They were caretakers, and they needed reason in order to do that. So they were assigned there. God said, you can basically tend. You're to tend and keep. You're to cultivate and protect the Garden of Eden. So all the trees. Some people will debate that. That's okay. But basically, the tree of knowledge, you could not partake of the fruit. God's test says in the Bible, God tests the righteous, and Adam before the fall was righteous because God designed him righteous. So was Eve. No fault. Okay? And he gives a grace of reason because he's that just. He's not afraid. How are you going to get rid of evil? Okay? We're going to see how. So would these two caretakers rely on the knowledge that comes from God, or seek to take knowledge from God so as to grasp for the stars? The caretakers were told not to eat from this tree, a test, you see, based on the answer foreknown. The conclusion was foreseen as the best course to complete the design, thus finalizing God's plan to restore order. Keep going, Brian. Yes, knowledge was provided as a refining fire to test what was known would be found inside the human mind, which was created without strings. For knowing the results of the caretaker's decision, a living way was fashioned to redeem. Yes, mortality swallowed up by eternity's victory, sealing the deal. It's a lot there. The Lamb of God slain before the foundation of the world. Think of that. There's one important question concerning life one needs to make. Will one choose to walk with God or walk without God? How could the choice be made if its need was not first foreseen before it was justly foreordained to begin a process making all things perfectly complete in the new heavens and earth? What does all that mean? You heard me teach this before. The fall and stuff happened to nail the devil to the wall and get rid of evil once and for all in a most fair and just, magnificent, righteous, holy way where God never violates one of his character standards, of his character traits, or his nature. He will not contradict himself. He can't deny himself. The devil knew that and got away with it. He knew that he was a God of the living and not the God of the dead. So he wasn't going to be exterminated into non-existence. For God to exterminate you into non-existence would go against God's life-giving nature. Well, we die physically, yeah, but you continue onward, according to the Bible. Some people don't believe that. That's their cup of tea. They can enjoy the fruit, I guess. We'll find out in the future. It says, remember, redemption is always birthed from calamity. That was a shocker. God truly is in charge of the universe, grand, capable of governing it through every extreme, and worthy to be served, keeping life perfectly live without another chance for corruption at the appointed time. So its redemption was in the mind of God in the beginning, the Lamb of God slain before the foundation of the world. He's going to create a new heavens and new earth, and none of this evil will exist. But Adam and Eve fell as he knew they would, and he provided a redemption through Jesus Christ. He made a people unto himself for that purpose. There's so much here. I don't, lines up with a lot of things that Dr. Michael Heiser said, lines up with a lot of stuff that people have talked about, even in theology classes. But anyway, God is a God of the living. God's very nature, character, and essence produces living means. His great love could never be known if none were living in which to share. Likewise, the Most High's mercy could never be acknowledged unless revealed to prove its source. Also, the Lord's righteousness could not be reputable unless it was made animate. Think about that. The Lord's righteousness could not be reputable unless it was made animate, alive. Finally, God's justice could not demonstrate all aspects of circumspect, judicious prudence unless exhibited it. God's justice could not demonstrate all aspects of circumspect, judicious prudence unless exhibited. Do you know what those words mean? Since I worked with the sheriff's department and the court systems, you want circumspect, judicious prudence. You got to look at everything, uncover everything, motives, everything. Make sure there's no loopholes when you nail somebody. They can't get off on a technicality. You forgot to cross a T and dot an I, and the defense attorney will go, well, we'll get this person off. Or you forgot to cross the T on that. Okay, he walks free from first-degree murder or something. That's how just God is. He's stacking evidence. Without a living Most High God, nothing would be all that remains except for God. Would this be just for the living God to do, never revealing all he is? How can he reflect his love, justice, mercy, fairness, righteousness, and make it known if he were not the living God emitting life? As he lives, demonstrating his purpose, his will, and his ways to all. I should have added, he hides nothing. The intriguing thoughts quickly ceased from the sides of the cube. The stairs began to form. When you start walking up some stairs, the lizard guide quickly ran back toward me, speaking, "You there, time we go. Up we must, up these steps to the 5th row high." It ends. Go into the next chapter. And so if you listen to what's being said there, we're in a process involved in the scriptures that's verified, especially in Daniel chapter 7. The courts were seated and the books were opened, and the Antichrist chap is being judged in that thing. The books are open, judgment comes, the white throne judgment. There's going to be judicious prudence given, and the people don't have any wiggle room to get out of it. And you're going to reap what you will reap what you sow. In the meantime, God is the one who authored choice. He gave choice to man. How can he exercise dominion to take care of the earth if he didn't give him choice? And I know Calvinists are turning over, and the reformed, hyper-reformed people and preterists are probably foaming at the mouth. But anyway, they can foam all they want. But anyway, God created choice. It's not a limited choice, it's choice. In it, he proves how just he is. This way is a difference between all the other world's religions that don't offer choice. What I mean by that, one particular salami type of religion, of the salami, the big tube of meat there, that salami religion, allows you to, have multiple wives. The woman has to cover her face and everything. If not, they beat you to a pulp. That's the type of thing they do. It's all about submission, and they're brutal. And they come in with this. This is a peaceful religion. That's first part of it is, but the second part, you read it further in their book, it's about terror. Right now, I just heard that there are some churches being attacked over in Europe or something. I set fire. I don't know all the details. It just happened when I was coming home, and I'll look at and I'll probably correct it, but I don't know all the details, but it sounds like there were people inside of it on a Good Friday service or whatever. These are what they do. Other religions, Hinduism, so forth, works based. Occultism, climbing ladders up, to climbing the occultic tree of life to reshape life and so you can live forever. All this stuff. Levels of enlightenment, stages of enlightenment. Work. We're doing it for the better of humanity, but what's the cost? If they disagree with you, what did Bernard Shaw say? He was a eugenist. He was a Fabian socialist. I say Fabian Bolshevik because Fabians are nothing but a mix of fascism and Bolshevism mixed. But anyway, and he said that he believed in pure collectivism, and it's online. You can listen to him even say it on the video, that they should have a committee. I can't talk like he should have a, he talks, you should have a committee where you must go before the committee and you must prove your value to the collective, that you still are for the collective. If you have no value, too old, too infirm, you have to be KIA'd. Wow, collectivism. The warmth of collectivism. So, here Christianity says, here's God came down, stepped in human flesh, the second person of the Trinity, never lost his deity. He was fully God, fully man. And what did the world do? To ultimate goodness, what they really think of God, they put him to death. The devil thought, well, he ain't the Messiah. He's dead, but he rose from the dead, defeated the devil, made a public spectacle of him. They're the authors. They're corrupting man. Jesus is coming here to liberate us, and he's engaging our free moral agency to go in the direction that'll bring stability to a society, not in demise. It respects individuals. In fact, it will make a community of believers. It should, but all through the years, through the corruption of the evil one that's coming in through the deception, it's not so much anymore. And it was a place of community, and it was an oasis. And if the church was attacked, angels and God stood up there, go, okay, you're attacking. And look at this Saul character. He's persecuting the church. I already know his heart. I'm going to zap him. And he's going to become the opposite of the Pharisees. He's going to be the apostle to the Gentiles. They need somebody who understands this stuff, who can reason to the Hebrew people and to the synagogues some of this stuff, some of the old prophecies that talked about Isaiah 53 being the suffering servant and stuff like that are in some of their extra canonical books like the Zophar back in the day. You could argue that. And he was no mystic. Don't get me wrong. They were familiar with all these writings. These books were gathered, placed in. It doesn't make it right because there's so much corruption in it. I advise people to stay away from it. But anyway, you don't want your head going around in the works mentality that it will produce, and headiness that it will produce, and the levels and ladders you have to climb to get enlightened. So here we're basically redeemed, and anyone attacks us is being judged, and yet and we're to exhibit Christ-likeness, to forgive, have mercy, and execute justice when necessary, and defend the fatherless and the widow and the orphan, as well as defend your country from evil. And it's not a passive religion. And so In other words, God was teaching through the church is how to become a human being again. It's through the process of sanctification. I'm certainly not the same person I was before this happened. This event diametrically, totally changed my life for the better, not the worst. It did not change me to make millions of dollars. It did not change me because I want to be some big shot. I am none of those things that critics say. They can say what they want. I ain't going to convince them otherwise. And, my response to critics is what the Lord told me to do: be merciful. Blessed are the merciful, for you will find mercy. I understand why they do it, because they think it's everybody who has an experience like this is of the evil one. And there's out for money, because there's so many crackpots out there. They stain the real. Nothing I can do about it. So I understand it. So it's easy for me to forgive them, show mercy. You can say what you want. But I'm just here to convey some truth to you about who God is. He's the God of the living, and there's so much in this. You can chew on it, gnaw on it. It's designed to make you think, to gauge your reason. What do you mean by that? What is that? And then you get in the Bible and you dig, and you'll find the answers. How can God be all these things if he kept it to himself? So he made creation. He made all creation. The planets, the sun, the moon, the stars, us. Knows them each by name. Knows their mathematical stuff all about them. He knows everything about them. And he created it all. He created us. To be in his image and likeness, that means we are to govern our world according to certain attributes of the Holy Spirit, which was given back to us because we lost it in the fall, but given back to us through the redemption that's through Jesus Christ and what he did on the cross through his resurrection. It's called the fruit of the Spirit. We're to govern our world according to love, joy, peace. Imagine what a place that would be. Imagine what churches would be like if they governed by love, joy, peace, righteousness, truth, goodness, mercy, all these attributes of the Lord. He declares him who he is all over the place. That's how you tend to keep the precious things of God. It's all restored. We don't know it yet because it's kind of blocked out of people, but God somehow is doing a miraculous thing in people's lives, changing them. He changed mine for the better. I'm so glad of it. I don't want to be a drunk alcoholic like I was. I don't want to live that life in whack land as I was living. I don't want to go back there just to make somebody happy. Jesus pulled me out of the abyss. I don't deserve to be here, and I know that for an absolute fact. I know I deserve hell. And here I thought I was a good old boy, never meaning no harm. I did some bad things, but my good would cancel out the bad. It had to be, but there is no God, so there don't matter how I live, I was all over the gamut at the time in places in my life. Then militant atheist, there is no God. Well, if you want to know what the fifth row high like here, I just hate this. I'll pull this on. You have to get the book or read the book on page chapter 13, verse 143. See if I want to go anywhere else. I will go to 144. Oops, I just lost the page. Hold on. Stuck together. So I'm on the fifth row high, and I looked up and I could see several cubes from the top 6 rows sitting along the roof edge, open area. The 5th row cubes sat a horde of large, shadowy, gargoyle-like type creatures that lacked wings, laughing and carrying on, looking down at me. The atmosphere of this room was like someone perceiving my thoughts but without knowing my mind. Someone seemed to be speaking in images of thought, but these thoughts were unlike peaceful, powerful thoughts I'd experienced earlier. These thoughts were troubling, doubt-filled, seductive. Oh God, were they seductive? While the other thoughts were vastly different, coming as aid in time of need, always in a challenge to the host creatures and the scenes I was seeing. That purplish entity was on the far ledge behind the others and remained sullenly, silently from a distance, staring as if in control, like a bully taunting his prey. Evil taunts. Think of critical theory, critical race theory. Taunts, arguments, throw it in your face. Change the language. Make your opposition live up to their own standard. Burn it down, burn the system down, destroy everything, and build it back into a collective paradise. Than Bernard Shaw once. Like I don't know, that old movie Logan's Run. I always thought that was kind of far out, I thought it was kind of dumb. But when I watched it again years later, after I was a Christian, I go, oh wow, yeah, a perfect society. Yeah. If you're old and no value, Bernard Shaw you. In other words, they eradicate you. So if you get a certain age, Logan had to run with his babe, with his gal, to escape. Okay, it's what collectivism is about. Those guide quickly limped towards an exiting corridor and motioned me to follow. These creatures sitting above began to speak in leering unison at me. God is merciful, God is kind. That's a laugh. I bet you a lot of people like myself have said that too. Just, is he? Oh, really? Just wait and see what's granted thee. Ha, all the pain, sorrow, misery, where you are from, ha, all the pain, sorrow, misery from where I was from. A most high justice, ha ha, wait and see. A most high, merciful, just, and kind, ha, how can this be? Because he leaves all these poor souls with me. God not nice, is he? People get mad because I had to write this. This was so laced with profanity that the editors had me take out the profanity, so I wrote it in the sort of a rhyming. It's sort of like, it's very seductive. It's like a snake getting ready to strike you. It's going back and forth. You're staring at this thing, and then boom, it tags you. And so I kind of put a rhythm to it to help people understand how they talk. It's like a riddle too. Wait and see. Curse God, curse me times 3. The creature's echoing voices slowly faded as I proceeded through the hallway, and my mind was becoming a mass of wavering doubts. I go on to say, passed by another cube. And then doubting, wily thoughts began bombarding my mind again. And I was scared spitless, saying, Jesus Christ, and I'm battling. This was all in my mind. You have no idea the struggle I was having. And I tried to put it into words, but don't think I did a very good job. I don't think you could put it any better either. But anyway, there are alluring, seductive, arrogant, troubling thoughts that came from some source close by. Where, whom, whispering. It's easy to understand why the cruel are here, sharing ensuing fates. Look within each passing box. These ones are not so cruel and mean, but appear nicely decent during life. How unfair. Yes, God is so unfair indeed. I again began to ponder why are these people here in this place suffering? What is going on? Why am I thinking this way? I could not perceive why each person was here, but what I was hearing did not line up. I could still perceive why each person was here. I could see their sin nature, but what I was hearing did not line up with the facts. And I'm scared. I'm terrified. I should have put that in. But then people go, how you're terrified, it's impossible for you to know it. You are in a spiritual dimension. No other way to put it. Things are quite different in this linear time. quite different. How much information can zap into your head in an instant, and thoughts and everything can make sense to boot. Next, I passed a man sitting in a chair all alone within his cube in what appeared to be an earthly home of 1973. Yep. I saw a woman in 1900 France. I already talked about those people. And then in another cell of despair, I saw a man garbed as one dressed from the 1600s. He seemed to be in a small prison of the ear and was sobbing, saying, why did I send him here? Why did I send him here? With, he's reaping what he sowed, okay? The very walls, each brick mocked and cursed him, shooting out a continuous flow of depression into his mind. At one time, he had been a kind man at home, but he had sent a good man to prison, all because he perceived him as a threat to his employment. Now he was here in that prison, weeping and crying, why? On and on the foul host and I went, okay? Then I go to another part here in 147. The host creature snarled, come on, hurry. Curse God, curse me. How can this be? How can the Most High leave these be, crying, hurting, enjoying their guest? Curse God, curse me. How can the Most High let this be? More devious voices could be heard echoing in the passageway. The Most High, merciful, just, and kind. How can this be? Wait and see. Right? Oh, really? Just look and see. Walking further on, I became distressed and shaken with jumpy kind of fear. Added to the terror I was fearing, it was like they're playing with your head. They're speaking, and you can hear it. And demons do speak to people, and you may not hear it with your ear, but you'll hear it. They hear it, and they entertain. They wear you down. It kind of reminds me of totalitarianism, how it works. It's based on the same principle anyway. The people in the former Soviet Union were browbeaten, and they were so afraid to go against the narrative. What the party said, it is not raining and it's pouring rain outside, the party's always right. You have to deny reality, because it was all subjective morality they were pushing. And so whatever narrative had to be the truth. If you disagreed against the party line, you were punished. You were browbeaten. If you disagreed, your neighbor could rat on you and you could go to the gulag. So people are broken down. Your whole spirit is crushed. That's how the demonic world operates in the world today. It's a jumpy kind of fear. I was feeling and seeing this at the same time. There seemed to be some unseen thing following us. I could feel someone seductively whispering, God is a criminal for designing all suffering and pain, and he's the author of all things and made sin. He's the author of all things and made sin. Look into the box before your gaze. Hear the preacher teaching from the Bible that God creates darkness and fashioned evil. How can God be truly faultless without blame, as written in his own book? Listen and see. It's been granted to thee. This is where I saw this pedophile type of minister in the 1840s. I wrote down, 1840s America. And, the Kentucky area, Kentucky, Virginia, Tennessee, West Virginia areas. But the thing is, I knew the person. I could understand his life history. I knew what he was doing, what I saw and all that. And then I began receiving aid. Someone of great power blew words of thought down upon me from high, which challenged these creatures' taunts. Then it fortified me and brought more pieces from its puzzling language to light. These mystifying thoughts built upon previous interventions precepts. It went something like this, the best way I can put it. What does it matter when the matter was decided to become a matter of fact? Can you not yet see what is obvious? Many things remain veiled and much still needs to be revealed, like finding pieces solving a puzzle or the riddles of the wise. Still you doubt God's love, kindness, justice, and mercy. God chose us to choose him. I love that. God chose us to choose him. But will we? Seeing all and knowing all is to see all things that can possibly happen in an instant and what recourse every individual scenario can possibly take. God chose us to choose him. But will we? You often accuse God of being a criminal with intent. This is talking to me. You formerly spoke like one of the creatures you've seen here, indicting God of creating sin. Listen again till you hear, just because something was found does not mean it was placed. Yes, God is the author of all things, as you argued years ago, but that does not mean he authored all effects. If you believe this, then you could convict God of all murder, malice, and mayhem. You could rationalize that it was God who made the serial killer to kill, the molester to molest, placed iniquity into the regal one, Satan, fallen eons ago. To be like this is not in accord with perfect justice, governed by mercy, refined with kindness, and balanced by wisdom. This would not be perfectly just. It would defy what all powerful truly denotes. Keep listening. To be totally blameless of all this necessitates designing beings with latitudes of reason and intelligence to think for oneself for the purpose of keeping life live. The blueprint clearly sees. That is the living way decreed. Therefore, does this blueprint foreseen make God enslaved to the whimsical choices made by those he creatively made? Listen. No. This does not mean God is enslaved to the chance decisions made by those creatively prepared, but rather it proves God to be absolutely all powerful, totally wise, and profoundly just. How? Ponder this. Granting latitudes of reason and intelligence to his beings of note proves the nature of God, who he is. After all decisions and meddling of that those created make, these cannot stop the hand of God from steering life to his desired haven. This is how an all-powerful constructs what is perfectly just. This is how all-powerful constructs what is perfectly just, a new heavens and earth. Let me say it this way. God saw and knew you before you were born. He granted the latitude of reason and intelligence, entrusting this into your care in order for you to keep life alive where assigned. He fashioned your days, allotted the time, place, and era to live according to what was foreseen to be found. Thus, if found for good, then for good, and if not, then not. All based on foreknowing all things, because God cannot help but be God. Foreseeing the beginning to the end all in one split second of time. He is blameless, without fault. Because something has been found does not mean it was placed. God is the author of all things, but that does not mean he authored all effects. He desires none to perish in this land unknown, but foresaw those who would, and made his. Let me read it again. He desires none to perish in this land unknown, but foresaw those who would, and made his decree to save those he could not help but foreknow. He is not slack in judgment. As this place shows, God continues to warn of consequences unseen by forming the latitude of our reasoning intelligence to spare many from demise. There, before time, it was considered that life could be of design this way and that. What does it matter when the matter decided to become a matter of fact? Life was given, choices known, and a way provided back to restore order. It was thus designed and decreed. God chose us to choose him. But will we? You doubt God's kindness. How could God prove himself just, kind, merciful, so all could clearly see? If God turned stones to bread for the poor, would that do it? Prove he mercifully cares? Would freely giving every want and desire to all show God's true kindness? If protection provided against all extremes were granted, would that prove God's justice? Would letting each rooster and chick run the roost as they deem best, be kind, just, merciful. Who then could protect each other from each other's desires without end? Who will instruct you in living correctly amidst the storms this causes? Who can really shield you from these? Tell me. Who? Name, title, which is Jesus. The words of thought paused while I peered into the prisons of misery around me. And I go on talking about the preacher getting beaten up by these people. I won't get into that right now. I want to go and finish this so you can see what I'm trying to, and stop here. And the words of mystery began again. Do not fear nor ponder why these reside here. They all chose to walk away from God, relying on their personal self-sufficiency, thus rejecting true self-sufficiency that relies on God. The creature's words causes doubts about God and his ways, and deceive many to hatefully fear God. Others just brilliantly lie and grant illusions of knowledge beyond the stars. I see that the words you have heard have shaken you. How can I ease your mind? You have been permitted to see this place. I'm going to start crying. I'm sorry. My hands. Just. Excuse me for a second. I see the words you've heard have shaken you. How can I ease your mind? You have been permitted to see this place and record answers concerning things profound. Therefore, let us explore why God allows certain hard matters be. Remember this: God fashions and squeezes light by initiating darkness in order to refine harmony and balance to a desired haven. Yes, God can initiate bad things to happen out of nothing because redemption is in the plan to restore the order. How else can God instruct creation and guide it justly? How else can the wicked be stopped and judged? Talking about these creatures, talking about demons in the pit, in the fallen watchers. Do you recall that God created caretakers to be a living extension to help them keep life live and maintain life where they have been assigned? When caretakers stumble, what would cause them to heed and return to God to reestablish life truly live? There is a need for darkness to refine light, as medicine is bitter to the taste. Its design restores health to marrow and bone. This is a hard saying. Sorry. This is a hard saying to fathom, but it is part of what all powerful means and prove God's just. God does control light and darkness according to his decrees of mercy, justice, wisdom, and kindness. He is blameless, without fault, and holds his beings of note to account on how they kept life live, were a sign, discovered by the manner in which each walks. Will it be walking away from God or with? That's justice way beyond my comprehension. And yet the Bible has it in Isaiah 45, I think it is. I create lightness, and I create the calamity, or create the darkness. In other words, he manipulates both. It's in the book of Romans says, I know all things. What is that? Romans chapter 8. Now I'm getting confused what that verse is. Oh, I had it memorized. Okay. Why? You memorize stuff, and all of a sudden it goes out of your head, and you can't remember a thing. So let me go to Romans here. Okay. Romans 8. For I'm persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels or principalities nor powers, nor things present nor things to come, nor height nor depth or any other created thing shall be able to separate us from the love of God which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. That's what Paul wrote. Saying the same thing here. Its design restores health to marrow and bone. This is hard saying to fathom. This proves God's just. Okay, and I'll get back down here. God does control light and darkness according to his decrees of mercy, justice, wisdom, and kindness. He is blameless and without fault, holds his beings of note onto account on how they keep life live. And I go down, will it be walking away from God or with? It has been rightly said that God is the God of the living and not the God of the dead. Therefore, everything the Most High does is by his living agency of life to keep life, all life alive, or alive. If the living God walked in the driest desert, it would bloom, and the rocks would shout glory. But how do we walk in this here and now? Would our deserts bloom or remain dry? Would our rivers run clean and pure? What kind of life do we leave to be seen, felt, and experienced in the here and now? Without consequences, how can one learn correctly to make his or her desert bloom? What does make our life good? Is it making excuses to escape blame? Does this consist of requiring power to Lord? Do chasing things to fill a need for more make life live and first rate? What is good? Does our good make life bad? Do our lives make life ugly or sparkle decency where assigned? What will be found and how will it be made perfectly clean if it's not first washed? God chose us to choose him, but will we? Corruption cannot remain. It needs to be changed by living examples that breathe new life into the grace of reason, sealing one's future like the wave from a proverbial wand. That's something I always argued about. If God was so good, he would wave his proverbial wand and get rid of the devil. This is why I wrote that in there. And there's I don't know, I should have maybe made a footnote there so people can be more what I'm talking about. And goes on. If you cannot learn here and now, how can you learn in the hereafter once you're sealed by eternity? In eternity, one cannot perish but will remain. The ones you see before you, be left to corrupt continuously, to make life profane, just to prove mercy, or sent somewhere else where they can cause no harm? Which would be more merciful? Tell me, what is just, kind? Answers found in Matthew chapter 25. God created hell for the devil and his angels, or his messengers, or his minions, the fallen watchers and the demons and all that stuff, and all the human followers. Yes, God could have created things this way or that, but he designed a specific way, each after its kind, for certain functions and reasons divine to keep life alive. God foresaw the best possible course to take in accordance with his character, which allows liberty to grow in his creation because his nature is absolutely just. Without this, God would not be God, all powerful, is the ability to control all things justly. There's hard lessons in here. I could go off on them, but listen, what does it matter when the matter was decided? It became a matter of fact. You're a part of God's living plan foreseen, thus designed with intellect, reason, emotion, communication, influence, capabilities, and all the responsibilities entwined to keep life live wherever you have been assigned. Will you walk with God who allows perfecting liberty, or walk without God towards unfathomable slavery? You can see that in whole societies heading towards slavery. Wow. I'll continue. Yes, the Most High foresaw the need to decree a call. Without none could ever be redeemed. His call engages liberty's reasons in all fairness and sorts the wheat from the chaff, all in good time. Silence came suddenly. Shadowy hallway loomed ahead in front of me, and the host creature trod onwards, hating every single word it heard. The words of mystery made it furiously incensed. All it could do was grumble with each step we took deeper and deeper into the deeper shadows. I remember thinking this, and I wrote it as best I could. It's a real split second of time. I was left wondering, would I ever be allowed to find all the pieces of this puzzle that the words of mystery had marked inside my mind? These powerful thoughts were like refreshing water to a dying man walking in the midst of hell, wherever you turn, you were tempted to succumb to burning fear. I don't know. I'm not the most articulate person in the world. I ask, why'd you select me? I mean, geez. Born with a partial cleft palate, have a slight speech impediment still. Some words I can't enunciate. I don't have a booming voice like Charles Stanley or someone. And you told me to tell people this stuff about evil, goodness, and why things have the way they are, and all this stuff. And the process came with a cost, and I shared it in my book, Heaven Beckons. What did I do with the book? I had it here. Oh, there. And Heaven Beckons. And after seeing heaven, things made sense. Especially when I saw the events of the cross and stuff. And you begin to see people differently. You see them as lost. You see them as broken. You see them trapped. You see them listening to lies of the enemy and that spoke through the world. And you see what they do with other human beings. And my career path led me to manage treatment teams for sex offenders. If you want to know what I saw, also temporarily worked. Going to go into the victims of it, but I could not handle it. When I went to the room where their victims were, and they have these doll houses there, the I can't say the word, I slaughter it. Anatomy, that's the anatomy, the perfect anatomy of male, female parts on these dolls, and the kids can react and what they go and what they do and the violence they can do was just too much for me to handle. Thank God that he's going to judge these creatures for doing this. Thank God these people are going to be judged. I thank God for the mercy he gives to everyone a chance to come back. He created choice. He can spare you of a great demise. He can restore your life. He knows who will and who won't before any of us were ever born. And he still allows us to make our own decisions in this world. And in the process, he's nailing the devil and his cohorts. The church is part of the plan. This part of the church has been lost. Yet it's talked about immensely. As Paul wrote Timothy, be a good soldier in Christ. He talks about spiritual warfare, being dressed in the armor of God. This is to play tiddlywinks. Go to one seminar after another, how to be the best you could be, or how to gather, how to, it's all about, Bible teaches prosperity, but is that all it's about? It talks about healing, but is all about? Yeah, it's a lot more too. We're to make a stand against evil. We're to push back and restrain the darkness. There'll time come, like it says in the book of Thessalonians, when he who restrains the Holy Spirit within the church, the believers, will weaken and no longer will be restraining the full force of evil as they once did. If you look at church history, without the bias of the left added in, and the atrocities committed in the name of Christ through both the Eastern Orthodox and Christian churches and the Protestant churches through John Calvin and some of those antics. That's not Christianity. In the midst of that were true Christians, and it seemed like they were dying out, but then the power of God came And people, do you know how dark it is in other parts of the world where they do not know Christ? I prefer to live in a Christian nation that allows free moral reasoning and individualism and how, work, eat, don't work, don't eat type. I'd rather have that than some society where all my needs are going to be taken care of by the government, who's going to strip me of being what it means to be a human being, caught in the glories of collectivism. You can shove it where the sun don't shine. Christianity freed people. It led to the abolition of slavery. Secularism, atheism did not. Atheism and secularism were proponents of slavery. From the ancient Roman Empire, from beyond the Assyrian Empire, all the way from Cain's day and age and on up, slavery was there. But Christianity freed the slaves. We still have slavery in different parts of the world. If I were hated so much because we stand for moral reasoning, we are against being put in a box and controlled. We stand against evil. Anything comes against us is going to be judged. When I dealt with some kids and perpetrators that harm kids, all I can say is I've seen God put back people who've been traumatized by sexual crimes, I'm going to put it mildly, and come back stronger as a Christian. If they did not have Christ, it doesn't bode well for them. Their personalities can split. Demons can set up shop in you, especially ritual abuse. It didn't have to be. Jesus, if everybody would just choose the way the Lord, but not all are going to choose. But even at that, he makes all things right in the end. And I can't explain all that, how it all works, but he makes all things right in the end. That's what I saw in Heaven Beckons. I saw a lot of kids up in heaven. Children, young kids. And yes, some of them, I never relayed this to anybody or ever put it in the book. Some of them were horribly abused and ritualistically killed in ancient times, burned. That's how just God is. Kids are pliable and moldable. They have not reached a certain age of accountability. When that is open to debate because it's not 13 years old. It can be before that. It can be, some people are the developmental disabilities. They may not mature until they're 100 years old if they live that long. God is mercifully just and kind more than most people will say. And in ways that you can't fathom. I'm not saying everybody's going to make it to heaven. For those of us who have moral reasoning, we are responsible for what we've done on this planet, and what we have caused, how much trauma we inflicted. I heard tonight, I hope I can interview the associate pastor there, or the executive pastor, Rick Skadden. I hope to get him on here as soon as Easter season gets over with, and you can tell a story. He shared a little bit of it tonight. A 4-time felon, now he's a preacher. Well, how could that be? How would anybody hire him? He said it himself. Drunk, in some broken relationship, got in his car, drove like a maniac, ran into somebody. He was incarcerated 2004. I don't know if that he was here in LCDC when I was working there in 2004. That's the local jail or not. I don't know where this happened at all. But he killed a man. Drunk driving. First felon. Gets out, life's a mess. Jesus found him, turned it around. Now he's preaching the gospel. Has a family, has kids, responsible. He's turning life live. That's the power of God. Now, if you're a secular atheist, Rick would still probably be in prison. I would probably be dead of alcoholism, and you'd be happy. Getting drunk, getting stoned, and living in no hope. This world is fallen, and the Lord wants to make a new heavens and new earth. Such is the power of the resurrection. Is the beginning of that. In the process, we have to restrain evil. The church has been doing that for some time. We doesn't get enough recognition for it. All throughout history, evil just smacking everybody around. The church comes in, they get smacked around, and evil fades out. People become Christians. Civilized happens. I live out in Colorado, so I know the history of the West was not clean. The Wild West was filthy, dirty, far dirtier than it was living in the East, because everybody didn't have running water at one time, and they only took one bath a week, if that. But the hygiene, they had chlorium or something like that, which is a mercury thing. It was a treatment. They gave you mercury to treat things, and mercury can cause damage into your genes, and so years and years later, somebody has a defect in their body because of it. Yeah, life was hard, but when you compare it to what the Wild West was, it was filthy, and it was dirty, rough, and it was cruel, lonely, and desolate. And people had no hygiene, and very little, and they had communal toothbrushes. I mean, filth. And then they came and they start reading the Bible, and they said, well, the Bible says take more baths and stuff. The First Nations people lived by creeks and streams, so they bathed regularly, and they were a lot more healthier than the settlers. So anyway, the point of all of it is this world is fallen human beings who do horrible things. God has done everything to stop it, but he gave you free moral reasoning, and he's going to violate your free moral will with a constant choice to return to him. You can either accept it or reject it. If you reject it, it's on you. It's not on God. You can't stand before God and say, you made me. Okay? That's all I wanted to say. So when I look at what Jesus went through on the cross, I don't have time to get through it because this is the holidays coming up for the Resurrection Sunday. But when I look at all the stuff that happened to Jesus, what he went through, how he rose again on the third day, there's a verse in the Bible. It's in Romans 5. For a just man, someone would scarcely die, but Christ died for the ungodly. He died showing what we are like to each other, friends, family. He bore the wrath of God in our place for it. And he cried out, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now you do. And he gave the church the responsibility, the people of the church, to be a little different. Shine a little light, a little love and kindness, a little mercy, a little justice, sometimes some whoop ass if needed. Oh, that's not what the Bible teaches. It teaches you to be a doormat. Jesus at the very end says you need to take a sword with you for your protection. You need to take money with you when you go minister, and you got to have some protection. If you see someone broke into your house and you go, oh, I'm a Christian, I can't defend myself. While they're raping your kids in front of you, and you have the weapon and everything in your house, and you don't do anything to use it so that wouldn't prevent that. So much for your Christianity. You're not protecting the innocent, the children, the women, the orphans, the powerless. You're not defending them. You got enemies who want to destroy your country within our own country. When the church no longer is doing that, evil comes in, the Antichrist system takes over, Antichrist appears. Okay? Simple. You seem to be at that pretty close to that stage where the church is losing its ability to restrain evil and be an example. I do believe that it can happen and God can restore it through a massive move of God. I'm beginning to see it here and there. There are young people getting saved, Gen Z, Gen whatever before, after that, and before that, whatever, although they do that. And I tell you, when I was in college at the CSU library, I found a little teeny book. And I think it got destroyed by the flood. But it was a book that described generations. And they planned to train housebreak generations into collectivism. And so I'm paraphrasing what this whole book is about. It was an easy read. So you have generation, they had generation X, generation Z, they had generations M or whatever. They had the alphabet lined up, certain generations. And then it was my generation and the generation after me, which did not go the way they planned. So that would delay the plan to the next generation. I think it was Z, Generation Z or something, Gen Z. And then there's other plan beyond that to make them collectivist in thought, in mind with the new education. This book is old. I don't remember when it was published. I think it was either in the 1960s or 70s. It could have been even the late 50s. I can't remember. I went back to look for it, and I can't find it because they had a flood, and it flooded out the basement. Some of the books were destroyed. And I think it was 1990, somewhere in 1990s. And they had a big flood in Fort Collins. A couple people died. So it was in July. I can't remember what year. But anyway, when you look at all this stuff, and you see a book like that, plan like that, and I'm watching it, wow. So what's hard for me is to see evil with what I understand. And there was a thing I wrote in the book, and it's a prayer. I said, Lord, I could look at people, I could see inside them, and I had to ask the Lord, help me. I said, Jesus, help me to look through your eyes of grace and endure what I see. Because I honestly prayed, I do not know how you did this. You walked on this earth and you knew everybody's heart at once. That's what the Bible says. And how did you do it? I can't. So he only gives that to me when I need it, or when he wants me to have it. I used to have it, I could see it. And sometimes I do. I walk and I can see the hurt inside of somebody, and I keep it to myself. Not my place to interfere with somebody unless he shows me I can interfere. So a lot of times I just see broken people hurt. I can see images with accuracy, notable accuracy, because I start asking people questions. Did this happen? I never forget the first time I just did this, said to this lady who was getting prayer for many years ago in the 1980s, petrified of thunderstorms. And I looked at her, and people were praying for her, and there nothing was getting anywhere, and she was still petrified of thunderstorms. So I just looked at her and I go, Tell me about the swinging light bulb and the Chester drawer and a little clown picture up there. She looked at me like she got hit by a freight train. I was in that room and they molested me. It was in a thunderstorm. Sometimes I see things and people, and I thank God answered my prayer to give me the eyes to be able to see through his eyes of grace and endure what I see. People just don't understand that, and they probably never will. And they make fun of it. It's okay. I don't care. I don't care. I'm my age. I can give a rip. I'm heaven bound. I can't wait to get there. I tried my best to convey what I could to people. They can accept or reject it. I did what he want me to do the best I could. Definitely not the way I thought it would turn out. But it's been one heck of a ride. Oh, boy. And finally get doctors to listen to me and find out that cholera and the neurotoxin from the algae and whatever dysentery, mostly the neurotoxin and the cholera, in the future causes gut nerve damage in your gut. I just went through a round yesterday for almost, even during when I did the video with Jason K and the Last Days folks there, I was at the tail end of feeling the effects of the nerve pain, and you have trouble breathing, your gut's like that, and got medication for it now. I didn't take any, didn't need to. It wasn't when it grabs your gut, you feel like it's squeezing your stomach like a dish rag, and everything goes out one way and goes out the other way. Same with like how cholera is. I'll spare you the details. I have the effects of what I drank. So they call it post-infectious irritable bowel, which is a little more severe than, or can be more severe because of what you drank, mostly polluted water, which I did by accident. So, yeah. So I'm always thankful for what Jesus did on Resurrection Day. He rose for the dead, and none of us deserve it. I've been all kinds of cycles in Christianity. One was the self-help Jesus, and that didn't go too well. Then there was, just try to sell them on the good parts about the gospel. You don't tell them about hell or anything. Just tell them, Jesus will make your life great, and you won't have a tomato in every plant. Your tree's always going to be perfect, and you're always going to be 12 biscuits. You're never going to be 10 biscuits shy of a dozen again. Your grass is always going to be greener, and everything work out. And that didn't work. That sales job didn't work. So all these fads that went through there, how people preached and stuff, that I had to go through and unlearn some of it. Never could really do it too well. Yeah. The resurrection. None of us deserve mercy. We all deserve wrath, but we find grace instead from that. What did I write down here the other day? Did I write it down here? I hope. Yeah, I did. We're saved by grace through faith, not of works, lest anyone should boast. And it says I think it's Ephesians, true faith worketh, no, this is John, 1 John, true faith, I call it true faith worketh by love, or faith worketh by love. Okay? Yet God we don't love God. We love God because he first loved us. That's first John. So we're saved by grace through faith that works by God's love because he loved us first, because we don't deserve mercy. That does something to you. That's why I look at Pastor Rick, I look at other folks who had been through the ringer and they come out of it, found grace, their entire lives changed, including mine. If we could preach the gospel that way, wow, what would happen? Maybe evil would be restrained again. Christians are touted as the greatest evil in the world for wanting to stop the abortioning mill. Yeah, amazing, isn't it? Trying to defend life. But eugenists don't. Already our birth rate's down in the United States and the Western world is already down. It goes through cycles like this. It's been throughout history, cycles. And so it's sort of like a natural break that God has implanted in human nature, that too much procreating goes on, then it dips down and then it goes back up. It just this cycle through generations. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And so all the reasons for eugenics is stupidity. It's Bolshevism anyway. With that, folks, I want to go ahead and go. But just remember, Jesus rose from the dead on the third day. And wow, just think about that. Think if we never rose from the dead, we'd still be in our sins. There'd be no hope. When you look at how many people got hope through Christianity, true biblical Christianity, not the fake stuff. There's enough out there. Don't measure it by that. Measure by what's in the Bible, not what other people do. Holy Spirit will teach you, and you get a good people around you. You can find them somewhere. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go. Hope you enjoyed this. So if you just remember, tomorrow about 4 p.m. on the be with Jason Mathis. We'll be talking about the UFO stuff and wherever else we could talk on digital currency. We can talk about all kinds of things. But I want to continue that conversation with the recent disclosure stuff that's just coming out. Matt Gantz and another politician talking about they're real. They have breeding programs. It sounds like a sci-fi novel. It seems like something straight out of Genesis chapter 6. It's pretty much kind of what Jason's when he got his email from the guy Chris, what he relates to that. Also, there is adds credence to a story how they captured 3 aliens who crashed, and they had them in a cell locked up, and then they just disappeared from the locked cell, just vanished. Well, interdimensional beings, maybe they took off their suits and went back to wherever they were, to the abyss, wherever. I don't know. But anyway, it's all that stuff. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. So with that, God bless you all. We'll talk to you later. And I want to put this graphic up. I'll go to live chat real briefly, but not too much. But anyway, you guys be blessed in Jesus' name. If you want to contact me, all my contact information's there, and you can connect with me. And those who donate or help me out, that'll be great on PayPal. I don't beg for money or nothing, so I don't think I'm in it for the money. It does help keep the channel going, and paying for restream and cameras and the lighting and everything else I have to use. So thank you all, and it keeps me going. In my book, A Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion, and Heaven Beckons. I did read parts of it. I am the author. I give myself permission to on my own book to quote it online. So there. With that, I'll go over to the live chat. I was reading something. What happened? It just moved on me. Okay, there. Oh. Okay. Okay, yes. New Zealand time. Wow. New Zealand time. Thank you, Calypso from New Zealand. Hallelujah. It's Patricia lives in Texas. They do have good barbecue there. Good steaks. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm going down here. Thank you, Calypso, for loving the fellowship. Appreciate it. I like to see people talk and communicate on the chat. I encourage that. It's a fellowship. You need to fellowship. Okay, wow. I hope we get rain. We haven't had rain, a little dib and a little dab here, but we need rain. Supposed to have some rain on Sunday, I think, or snow or something in the mountains, but I'm not sure if that's still applicable. This is Colorado. You have crazy weather. Well, Ashley's here among the fig tree. Got behind the chat and had to catch up. All these dishes won't wash themselves. I had to wash dishes today too before I left. Raising my youngsters makes me anxious. Sometimes I just have to remember the Lord is with us. They're 3 and 6. Hallelujah. 3 and 6. Wow. You got your hands full. Well, when the 6-year-old becomes 8, they can take care of the younger one. It was a rite of passage when I growing up. All the sisters are talking to each other. Oh, wow, that's great. I'm just going here. I'm not going to read anything, but I'm going to try to find a question. Well, thank you. I love you all too. Someone says we love you. Okay, I love you all too. Yeah. Norma writes this. I was reminded of the courts of heaven because the adversary is always accusing us before God. Shut him up in your life. Romans 8. It is finished. You got that right. Some people don't believe in the courts of heaven, but the courts of heaven are real. They are real. It is a real thing. It's called the Heavenly Council. And you can direct your prayers there. There's different ways that people pray. I'm not against that stuff too, unless it goes really wacky. Some of it has gone really wacky, but when I pray, I know I'm in the court of heaven, so I don't try to think of it or conjure it up. I just know, I know He hears me. I'm very honest before the Lord. What do I have to hide? And when I pray, I actually am talking to somebody who's answering back. Even though I may not hear His voice at all, He's answering. Okay. Okay. I don't, where's that song? It's an old song. He's talking about mansions. He goes, "Oh Lord, I don't need a mansion. I'm just satisfied with a little cottage here below." He wants to do all the dishes and all the cleaning. I was cleaning the bathrooms. I got to clean more bathrooms tomorrow. The upstairs bathroom. Dusting I got to do and all that. Oh boy. Well, thank you, Ashley. Thank you for the comment. Wonderful to see you here too. We try to do another video together too if you want. Just let me know if you're interested. We can do that if the kiddos could be entertained. People like that. They liked it a lot. Yes, I know Brian, you're more articulate than you realize. You have Jesus with you. Don't let the world limit your confidence. No, I don't let it limit my confidence. I have an ornery streak. One thing about having born to partial cleft palate, it made you fight. You had to fight to be heard, had to be a fight to be understood, and then sometimes they bully you. You have to fight back. So in a way, it was a benefit. So I just learned to press in and keep doing until it's like playing the guitar. And since I've been practicing more, I'll probably do another round of music, just noodling on the guitar, not really noodling like people noodle. So I hear songs in my head, and I can actually now I'm getting back to being able to put them and play them on the guitar. Syncopation. I'm working. I mean, I stopped playing in 2020, the early part of 2022, pretty much due to the big C that happened, and I wasn't going anywhere. I didn't need to go bring my guitar. Sometimes I led praise and worship, and sometimes I just played in the band and different places that we ministered to, and so I just played long, I don't know how many years, 40 plus years playing the guitar, and I lost it. I just gave up because there was no reason. I wasn't going anywhere. I even thought of selling my guitars. And then my wife and I were planning to move. All that, when she passed away, all that happened. My wife, for those years, told me, "You should go play the guitar. You should go see your friend David and go play the guitar. Play the guitar. You need to play the guitar." And I never listened to her because I just gave up on it. Actually, probably was 2021, I think, when I stopped. The latter part of 2021, near 2022. And I just stopped. Didn't think I'd ever play again. Anyway, so I'm picking it up. I'm getting back in syncopation. My muscle memory in my fingers, I haven't lost that. It's just I'm just trying to get coordinated again. So I'll play some more stuff for you guys. But yeah, it's just like practicing. You got to practice. I appreciate the speech therapy. And sometimes you do slur words and you can't pronounce some words. They just don't come out right. So I just don't. But I push on. Okay. Yeah, the world is very evil. We don't even know the half of it. The things I know from it, from what I've seen, one of the fields I worked in, I saw a lot. But anyway, I know what human beings can do to each other. Oh, it's not pretty. So people pray for the weather. Yeah, the prosperity gospel was very big when I was in young Christian, and I never got caught up in it because I know that God teaches prosperity, but it's not the way they teach it. And in fact, it's quite different. You don't give to get. I'm going to give you 100. I'm going to get 1,000 back. And, they did that because they had big ministries to raise poo-poo bucks, and also maybe can buy their third or fourth car or airplane, whatever it is they want. But I think that particular prosperity gospel you're talking about is anathema. That should never be. That really stains the name of Christ. I won't even go there, but it does. But then again, the Bible does teach us prosperity, but it's a lot different than what these people used to teach and still teach in places. Yeah, you've always received prophetic words, knowing things about people working with the law enforcement, even on what I was shown on the child abuse cases. In the world, I thought I was psychic. I had to repent. Well, it's a gift. God gives us gifts, and some people say it's psychic. No, the Lord wants you to develop your gift. I don't even know what you call it. It comes under the word of knowledge and discerning of spirits. That's the gifts. Those two kind of mix and match with each other, and you kind of just described it. Knowing things about people and stuff. That's exactly the spiritual gift that's the Lord can use in the right way. And Ashley says it best. The enemy will try to use our spiritual gifts for the kingdom of darkness when we don't know any better. You got that right. Even if you do know better, they'll still do. Yeah. Yeah, and those people who do that prosperity thing, who fleece money out of people, the Lord will judge them harshly. Okay, so look forward to talking to you. We'll talk more about Chris. We'll talk about Matt Gantz and his revelation about the breeding programs and some other stuff. And we can talk about the digital currency, whatever, the Trump coins. Things are heating up. We're pointing to end times. UFO disclosure, days of Noah. We'll talk about that tomorrow, Jason. I'll see you tomorrow. Well, yeah, Patricia, there are so many who have. It's almost a pandemic of it. But it's always perpetuated by a small group of people or a pack of dogs, as they say. And yeah, oh Lord, just it happens to so many, and the trauma and all that. But Jesus can get us through that. So someone told me the Lord gave them a revelation of He was there with them, and now He's here to heal the wound. And He explained to them why and all that stuff. I don't remember the whole bit, everything, but it was pretty powerful. So if I can remember who they were, maybe I can look them up again. The dollar bill makes a gray. Yeah, someone showed me that, so I have to get another dollar bill and look at it again. Yeah, we're going tomorrow live, Jason, afternoon around 2 o'clock Mountain Time. So, yeah, that's okay. It'll be 6 o'clock Eastern. So whatever it is, coordinate our times, 6 o'clock Eastern. Not 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock Eastern. 4 o'clock Eastern. Let me get it right. 4 o'clock Eastern. These time zones really get me for a loop. Yeah, read the notes. I got it. I got the thing, but I'm not going to show it. And I don't want anyone to copy it. So we'll talk about that. Yeah. Well, you can just send me an email, and I can't remember if I was going to interview you or not. Man, I got so much stuff on my plate through this training for the deliverance thing and working in the church, and kind of got discombobulated there a little bit. So we can talk. Just let me know what you want to do, okay? Great Awakening. Okay. Poor BW's Baum. It's it hits the nerves, and it causes everything to go haywire. It messes you up. Ugh. Poor pitiful me. No, it serves me as a reminder what happened. That's that I can't deny that. I got the side effects. So I'll tell you what, if you don't believe I died of drinking bad water, I got some pond water over here in Fort Collins. I'll let you drink it as an experiment. But you have to sign a disclaimer. If you die that and you don't come back, can't sue me. Okay. All right. This is a green screen. Let me show you. I mean, I can, some days my plumbing goes sour. So this is just a green screen. It's not this place that I have up here. I just like the lighting for the color shirt I'm wearing. Okay. It's a light gray shirt. I kind of like it. Got it from Costco. It's an Orvis shirt. These shirts are real expensive, but at Costco, what was it? 12 bucks for $100 shirt. Go to Costco. Sometimes you can find some quality clothes. It's for cheap. Very comfortable shirts. Plus, it makes you look more sophisticated. I saw you shop at the most prestigious stores. No, Costco, 12 bucks. Cheaper than Walmart. Well, they don't sell these shirts in Walmart. You go online, they can be $70 to $120 a shirt. It's unreal. It's a lot of money to pay for a shirt. That's why I shop at Costco. This is not a paid promotion, so okay. Yeah, I got all kinds of different. That could have worked with the shirt. Maybe it might be too bright. I can go here too, whatever. I can just black it out. I'm having fun with the green screen. It's XSplit. I have actually a black screen for XSplit. It works better that way. And then this is always nice background. One of my favorite backgrounds. I'll go in my imaginary cat. This is actually a real place. I just don't know where it's at. It's kind of. I always wish I had a place like this to live in, just to hang out in. Anyway. Okay. You like my biscuit thing? I've been watching this YouTube and Also on Facebook, this lady she's from Alabama, so she, instead of saying Meemaw, she says Meemaw, so in the South, we always say Meemaw, 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 Pepaw. And so, but Alabamans say it different. They talk more Southern than what I'm used to. But anyway, so this lady goes up there, all these, I posted some of them on Facebook. You're talking about biscuits. So I made up my own thing about the biscuits. It's not hers, but one thing she goes, well, I'm madder than the devil at a baptism. I'm madder than the devil at a baptism. That one cracked me up. What was the other one? Yeah, it's on the Facebook. Just listen to it. Okay, so Fireside Grace got you on Monday. If people are around, they want to tune in. Yeah, you'll like Robin and his wife. His wife usually is in the background, but she'll come out sometimes. But yeah, you'll enjoy it. Trying to get you exposed. I hope I can get Pastor Rick on my channel and get him exposed too. Okay. All right. Well, Norma, happy Passover to you, because it's Passover. It really is. And the Feast of Unleavened Bread and all that stuff going on. Yeah, happy Passover, everybody. Happy Resurrection Day. I rather call it Resurrection Day than Easter. I just can't. Easter like Dr. Judge Burton made a little meme with the Godzilla doll eating Peeps, or bunny rabbit Peeps. Terrorizing them. This is hilarious. Anyway, I got to get him back on too. He's usually on Blurry Creatures, but then yeah, I will try to get him on. So, yeah, do that, Jason. Get everything together, and we'll do it again tomorrow. All right, folks. Got a lot of comments. I'm gonna get down to the bottom because I'm tired. I need to go. Probably need to go to bed. I don't want to clean bathrooms. I'm not coming over to anybody's house to clean a bathroom. If I do, it's going to cost you $6,000 a minute. And I'll take as long as I want. Oh yeah, everybody plays. We should do that. I'll sing, Brian on the guitar, Papeto on the air drums, Ashley on the piano, KG on the saxophone. Wow. All right, everybody, I'm gonna get out of here. When is... So if you want, Allie, if you want to do that, just send me an email. We can get something going. We can do a talk online. I think people might get something good out of that. Okay, let's see. Wow, it keeps going. Okay, down to the bottom. I pray that I get to sleep tonight. Well, I pray, Mindy, that you get some sleep tonight, and everybody else do, because I'm getting tired. I need some sleep. So with that, you guys have a blessed tomorrow. and rest of the night and have a happy, blessed Resurrection Day. All right. God bless you all. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, put the other screenshot up. And with that, you guys be blessed. I'll catch you again tomorrow. God bless you all.